Are we on?
Yeah,
Are we sure? We're on. Herman, Nolan, Pete. We got Simon tonight, and possibly Doof, and Aaron behind the doobly-doo, behind the confusers.
As always.
As always. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss. I feel like I just came out of a big. I know I came out of a big struggle. We'll probably talk about that more. But Pete was saying earlier today that he's seen some of his friends really just go, like we've seen more than usual, just people going through hard times.
Yeah, just people around us, just in general, people we associate with day to day. We've seen it in the shop, seen it at home.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's more than, like, in the last year, it's just gotten progressively worse.
Right. And it seems so. I guess this kind of answers the question that I was going to ask, but it seems that it hits the people that have really rededicated and tried to make a difference.
It's kind of weird when I think about the ones that I see it in the most. It's the people that kind of have what I would consider one of the strongest roots in their faith, like the ones
that really changed.
Yeah, that are really solid in their faith.
Found something
what we normally see, and like I can even see it in myself. And a lot of times I go back to saying, well, identity is sometimes not taught enough, that maybe that's why we struggle. But I don't feel like that's the case here. So what's going on that's really just, plaguing the way it is?
I don't know. It's I guess in a way it's easy, or it'd be easy to chalk up to maybe a mass attack, and maybe that's the case. But could it also be we just lost focus on? Because I know for myself, I don't know. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah. But even subliminally, like it's going. It's in this little point where I guess where I see it is what seeds off of the people that we come into contact with every day.
Well, could they also maybe have hinged somewhat on us?
I don't think all of it.
Subconsciously.
I mean, some yes. Like, let's say family things, like at home, things like that. Yes.
Well, even our friends that we've seen struggle.
I mean, I'd not say it's not possible, but I don't know.
Would they have not gotten as bad if we would have kept it straight?
That I could see. Had
we really don't know for sure, but
I could say for myself, had I kept myself in the position to continuously reach out, could I have made a difference? Yes.
Well, I mean, so. I don't mean even that. I definitely don't see it. Haven't seen it in you as much as I have in myself. Holy shit! I had a bad week last week. Literally, as far as I can remember, the worst week of my life. Everything come crashing down on me. But it goes back to Romans 5:3-5, which says, hardship creates character, and who doesn't want better character? And I had some calls last week for machines that went down that we had worked on. I didn't even write them down to remember to work on them because it was too much. I was so overloaded. I got so sick Sunday that, not last Sunday before, that I couldn't move. I couldn't get up to take a piss. I was so weak.
Yeah.
Sunday recovered. Tuesday was good. Wednesday, it seemed like all over again. And then Thursday to Friday night, my whole leg that I got my steroids injected in.
I remember that.
Not steroids.
It looked bad.
What was that? The men have. It's not steroids. What the heck is that?
Yeah, testosterone.
Testosterone.
Yeah, your booster.
My booster. Yeah, that leg was sickly all night. I didn't sleep much, and not just that. Like we have like DS Performance has had enough work where we should have been maybe tight on money, but not as tight as we were.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't last. And every machines that never go down went down.
Yep.
There's two tractors in El Paso. They're very similar tractors. One went down, one didn't. Makes no sense.
And
it's
and I feel like there's a verse I was sitting here trying to find, and I'm going to find it here in just a second. I can't remember where it is, but I know I've looked it up before, and it talks something about through a business when you're building through it. And I feel like that these personal struggles have carried into the workplace quite a bit.
Well, they're one and the same, really.
You think so?
Yes, they have to be. That's
then
a kingdom.
Which one is the cause? Is our work life the cause, or the personal life in the work the cause? Like, is it taking work home or bringing home to work?
I usually don't. That I can think of. I never bring work home.
Yeah.
But also subconsciously, I can't turn it off. So there's that. But that I think about work. My wife would sometimes ask me, like, "What'd you do all day?" No idea. I left.
Then forgot.
Yeah, I left. That day's over, gone.
There's oftentimes I wish I could do that, but I don't have that. I don't know why. I don't want to bring it home, but sometimes the calls, everything that we've got going, I know what I've got to do in the morning, and that carries on. So sometimes I have problems shutting it off.
So I had last week when I had all those calls, but that's pretty rare for me.
Gotcha.
But as far as which one does it, I think they're coming. So this is what I think what did it for me. I think it's personal life, not staying rooted, and because with what I've learned through Andy and Heaven and Business, the workplace is the kingdom. Okay. And if you this goes, Marcy sent this the other day to me, but it's Matthew 6:33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God. You'll remember that one. What's the rest say? And everything will follow.
Yep, everything.
So what have we been doing? We've been sitting there struggling, fighting tooth and nail, trying to get it to work. I'm going back. I started listening to Dan Mohler. That's why I'm wearing this lifestyle shirt. I figure it's a good way to break it out again. I'm going next week. I'm going to Arkansas. I'm going to listen to Dan Mohler. I'm going back to basics. That's where I started. I listened to some of his messages again. Yep. They're in all the years, like 3-4 years ago, we listened to him. It hasn't changed a bit.
No.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing for a little while. I had quit and I had gone to a lot more just strictly look for it and find what I can. And I find some, but it seems like sometimes I try so hard to find it, I don't find anything. I draw myself into a blank. Well, I used to not, and I've thought about that. Go back to what we started with.
I feel encouraged to do that now.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not even so much listening to him. It's I really couldn't listen to much of anything. I really didn't want to hear anybody talk about Jesus. Nothing. Just leave me alone.
No. There's no doubt he's there. There's none of that. It's just right now. Yeah. Just shut up and go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly how you feel.
And
but is that then what the thing is? Is that kind of what it is? Because you could easily say that's depression. Just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk to anybody.
No,
it's easy to say that.
I just don't want to talk. I didn't want to talk anything spiritual.
So you had no problem just shooting the bull. You just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That part, but not just like, I'm gonna go back. It's encouraged me to, like what you talked about the other day. Remember how we started with the New Colony group?
Yeah.
There was a fire.
Well, I've thought about that multiple times. What would it take to bring that fire back? I don't know where to go about it. And I think it's got to be one of those, we'd all have to be on the same page. And maybe what it would take is just...
I think it'll spark.
You think so?
I think so.
I hope so. I missed that.
I think that's why people around us have fallen too, because we don't carry the fire anymore.
That's very possible. Because I feel it. Like, it used to there's a presence you carry.
Oh, yeah.
When you walk into a room, there was kind of that thing. And I noticed yesterday a little bit, I was talking to Abe Dyke, one of the guys working in the office, and me and him were up front talking. And I remember going into a conversation just randomly with anybody. And every conversation, whether you intended it to or not, give it 5-6 minutes. And it went towards Christianity. It went towards just Christ in general. Went towards biblical topics. It wasn't just worldly. It wasn't just the crap we spew on a daily basis.
Yeah, it wasn't just shooting shit.
No, and thing is, even shooting the shit converted to that.
No, I did.
And it doesn't anymore.
It did. And you had references in there.
Yeah, all the time. And every single day. Yeah. We could make a joke about it, and it would always lead to the same thing. I even remember one of my buddies saying that every conversation within 10 minutes has always led to that. And the thing is, it doesn't anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't know, when we talked about this earlier, that we're going to talk about tonight, I thought about how it could just be a mass attack.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that.
Well, I think it somewhat is, but if we just simply say
but it's always there.
Yeah, exactly. The attack
not
is
new.
always there, but even to say, I mean, it has to be a massive attack. It's the
think
enemy
so.
bringing this stuff out, but
I
don't think so?
I think if we would have carried the fire, I think the rest of them they would have seen it, and they would have been encouraged.
So you're saying it's our fault?
Well, you look at it one way or the other.
If the shoe fits.
If the shoe fits, to kick it off. Damn it, wear the hat, man.
No.
What I mean, there's like I said, there's no way to prove one or the other, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I hadn't thought about it quite that way, but yeah, I see it.
Because we're not the only ones, but I truly believe we're leaders in our own way. Maybe it's just local.
Like you say, we're not the only ones, but we're the only ones in our particular circles.
In our particular circle, we are kind of the leaders, yes. And the thing is, you fall off, so does everybody else. But what? Because
you're following the leader, and the leader makes a left turn, so do you.
Well, and other things, even so much that you drifted apart from some of your friends.
Yeah, I have quite a bit.
And I don't think it would have happened if you would have carried the fire.
Oh, probably not.
It would have stayed fresh.
Well, I think I know people say that we are not attracted to Christianity. Like people say, before you're saved, you want nothing to do with it. I see where they're coming from,
but religion.
I think I agree, because I feel like you are kind of drawn to it. You want to be around the people who are strong, who do live it.
The ones like the way we found it.
Yeah,
it's not a Sunday thing. We found it. It was a daily thing.
We can easily point fingers and say that we were attracted to charismatics because we were enticed. I don't think that's what it is.
It wasn't that.
No, we were enticed, all right, but not by a person.
There was a fire
by a belief, something that was there and that we either felt or saw,
and we carried it.
Yeah. For the longest time, I did 3 years,
right?
And it went consecutive. Like I just consistently was there, and it just slowly dwindled down.
That's why I'm going to Arkansas.
Yeah.
I'm going back to basics.
Well, while you're there, just tell them to come back to our Texas.
our Texas.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's not only been here, though, because I do what's I flag mid-session, and like many of the board guys, I've called them and talked, and they're like, man, I don't know. I just don't feel it the same and things. And I actually had the guy step down that shocked me. No, because I've had a deep relationship with that guy for years. And let's like, he was all in, man, just all in. And then he's just out of the blue. It's like, man, I'm not feeling it and all that. And so it's not only been here. It's also been in other places too.
One of the reasons I like the idea of that it's us and not just attack in general, because if it's attack in general, there's not much we can do about it. But if it's something I did, then I can do something about it.
I think I feel like this kind of goes to, you remember, it'd be well over a year, maybe 2 years ago. We had like 1 or 2 weeks straight where we were talking about strongholds. You remember that?
I don't. I have vague idea.
Okay, well, I don't remember
I had a very
it either.
strong
But
revelation or a picture, mental picture.
Well, I remember you had a bunch of notes on it at that time. So, is it just that maybe the whole point of tearing down strongholds, what we had found then versus now, is it just that we gave way and we let a stronghold be broke down?
I think it was a bunch of little ones. I don't
think so. That led up to it.
Yeah.
So we let down our guard, thinking we were too comfortable in it.
I really don't know what it is. But
I'm just thinking, like, when you look at like strategically placing stuff, like who was wanting to play chess the other day?
Zach.
Because I
remember somebody was talking about playing chess, but we were talking about like the moves, the pawns, and the knight. Rudy, I think it was Rudy, because he was saying he always liked to use the knights because they do the odd jump. 2 forward, 1 over.
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking about it, and you use your pawns as basically defense a lot of times to defend your actual important pieces in the back. So the strongholds that we put, like our guard basically would be our pawns. We kind of got comfortable thinking that we weren't getting attacked the same way.
But what was it? Like, if I
I
think
don't
back,
know.
I don't know what did it. I really don't.
Well, I don't either because can
it-
you even
I don't-
pinpoint when exactly it happened?
That's the thing. Like, I don't recognize what we
Yeah.
are from what we were 3 years ago.
But that's exactly it. We got to that point. We were up there. We were comfortable. We were kind of like, you
But
remember
we
coming
ne-
back
we
from
never
an
really-
encounter?
We never really decided that we're not going to quit
No,
pursuing or nothing. So
we didn't ever quit, but
it just,
we just kind of faded off or leveled. Let's say leveled out. Let's use that.
bro, that sowing a seed,
Yeah.
worries of life, choked out the seed.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
That's
That
kind of
happens
harsh
slow.
because I tell a lot of people like when they sit there and complain like this whole recession thing. You know, God says what are you going to worry about? You know, look at the birds of the air, how the way they're fed and they're taken care of. How much more important are you than the birds?
Because the thing,
Because I use that a lot. But if that's the case and the worries of this world have done that, then that's a very hypocritical thing for me to say. Because
not really.
well, how not?
You just have to see it yourself too.
Well, no, I've got to find that because if the worries of this world are what's dragged us down, has kind of broken this for me. I have told so many people
'Cause-
quit worrying about the worries of this world because God's always taking care of us, and that's always been kind of my go-to.
Well, there's a few different ones. There's one that sprung up quickly and died because it didn't have any ground. That I think that's more the recession thing, or the birds picked it up.
Okay,
I think ours was the weed choked it out, because if you think about what happens when the weed first, the plant comes up and the weed comes up beside it, and they both grow at the same time, but eventually it just gets
The weed
too tall.
outgrows it,
Yeah. And the sun can't hit the plant anymore, but it happens very slowly,
yeah,
Yeah.
very slowly,
Yeah.
and it just kind of sneaks up on you. You don't really see it coming.
until you're covered up and you don't
Yeah,
see the
it's
sun.
too late.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's a song called "Slow Fade," and it's done by Casting Crowns, and he does a teaching that goes along with what Sip the song, and he picks out this Bible verse. I forget the exact what's on, but it makes a very good point. No, it's got a guy, and he starts off in a sprint, and then he slows down, and then by the end of the voltors, he's actually sitting down. He stopped. No, and I think that that's the thing is over time we start off in a sprint. And then let's siphon things come through, and then we begin to slow down.
That's true. We still can pinpoint what it is. That's the big problem.
I think
Yeah.
you know you can go with that. You can go with people say take it slow because this is a marathon, not a sprint. I don't see why.
I don't see. No, I don't see.
Like-
That's actually another thing. With all that this was happening, if I would see somebody that really just like on fire,
Yeah.
just give it a couple of weeks. Like I was negative, and I would catch myself and like, where the hell is this coming from?
Yeah.
I wasn't like that.
No,
I'd
you
be
used to not
happy
be,
for
yeah.
people. Like encourage them.
Yeah.
Like don't quit running. This is a marathon. You hammer down, bro.
This is
Don't
not a
ever let-
marathon. This is just a sprint to the end.
This is a sprint. Yeah, it's not a marathon. Yeah,
Yes.
you can do Vincent Scout.
No, screw your marathons. This is a sprint.
This is a sprint. Don't ever
this is a point A to point B race. This is not
as
a
fast as you
Yeah,
can,
that's
bro.
right.
As fast as you enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. And if you slow down, pick back up.
No.
Like that's the
slow
way
down,
we used
take a
to
drink,
be
and keep going.
3 years ago.
I
And
know.
we're like, I am to the point where I don't recognize myself
Yeah.
from where we were back then.
I don't either. When I
That's
think
rough.
back, I can't find it.
Oh.
The thing is, I sat there the other day driving to work. I don't remember what song came on. I'm trying to think what it was. It's an older one. I caught myself in tears, and I was sitting there thinking about it. Like, where did that go? Like, where even those tears? Where did those tears come from? And I couldn't find it. And I sat there and thought about it. Like, how many times did I drive to work like in tears, happy?
Papa
Where's
was
that?
there giving you a hug, and you're just like, damn, this is good.
And it went away.
So some say if you're low on testosterone, there's a lot of estrogen, a lot of emotion. I had none.
Yeah.
I finally and I don't know if I talked about it in the last podcast. Went in, it was really low. Since I've taken those booster shots, I have emotions again.
Really?
Yeah. I had one that was. I don't know about very good, but I was very proud of it because I was so mad. I got tingles all over me. I was about to bend the computer over my knee. Oh, I was mad. But there was a but. I was in control of my emotion. I was in control of the anger so much so that I thought I had 2 computers there out in the field. And I'm like, I'm going to break this one to make myself feel better. And then just before I figured out which one I'm going to use, I can live without this one. It's not an expensive computer, and I can sacrifice it.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. And then I was going to get out, and you know what? I don't know. It's going to make me feel better, so I'll just leave it there.
I'm glad you didn't, because I'm not really sure that the one that I would have picked of the 2 is the one you would have broke or not. So I didn't realize at the time. I thought it was funny because I thought you had the 2 old tough books with you.
Oh,
and you had the 2 newer tough books with you.
Yeah.
And one of
That's
them
one of our better ones.
Well, it's
with
with
everything
I hate all the tough books. I've never liked it. In
well,
best
I
of
know,
days.
but one of them just has the software that I need to keep.
Which one?
That we just found the hasp key for. The newer tough book still has race on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we could install that.
Well,
but
I
either
know,
way.
but that's still work that needed to be done that didn't have. To
Yeah,
be done.
no, that's true. But it's like for me, it was like I was so angry because nothing would work. Which I realized after it was all done that I don't remember last time I've been angry.
Yeah.
I don't remember last time I was this angry. It must have been a good 10 years, 15 years, maybe
wow.
more. My whole back was tingling. I was so mad. But I would never control it back then. Never. It was shit goes flying, breaking. Whatever was in front of me would break or run. Because it was going to go south fast.
I thought about kind of after you had mentioned that, I randomly came across the Jordan Peterson video. I don't remember who he's talking to. Integrate the Shadow. It's kind of where he talks about the whole controlled monster thing, but he doesn't call it that. But I think it's kind of pre him coming out as a Christian. So it's one of the older videos. It's a couple years old. But one of the things that he talks about, and I think very much applies to today, and I think applies to me. I did such a drastic 180 that I didn't not only not integrate the shadow, I kind of blinded it out.
Well, isn't that what we're taught as Christians? You
kill the shadow. I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think so either. I think the controlled monster makes sense.
Well, not even if you don't have to call it that even, but to say the way he words it, you integrate the shadow. Like there's your part of your human nature is there. Like I get we're reborn as Christians. I get all of that. But look at how many Christians fall back into their own ways, their old ways.
But they do, yet they'll find verses and make excuses for them.
Well, they'll make excuses for it. But I don't want an excuse.
I know, I've done it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But
you can find them.
Well,
you can twist the verse enough to make it
make
work.
anything in your life work. I mean, if you think about some of the things we've talked about, you could really screw somebody up. If you really wanted to take the time to screw it up, you could.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is just when I did that, I went so far out of my way to throw the anger and the hatred aside, like completely bury it so far that I couldn't see it myself. That I made myself... I made myself go soft in a way that I shouldn't have. I let people walk over me, and that was the Christian thing, turn the other cheek.
Yep.
And so
I still don't know what that looks like.
I do. You slap me once, I'll let you slap me twice. You won't slap me a third time. No. It said turn the other cheek. It doesn't say do it twice. And you know what, though? I think that's a decision everybody has to make because there has to come a time you defend yourself. And I think, have I done something to offend you? Do you want to get aggressive about it? So be it. I'll take some of it. But there comes a point where you will cross that line. And when you cross that line, that's where this comes in. I will draw out as much of that darkness as I can. But that is still in there. And to say it's just buddy, gone. Stop. Exactly. It's don't bring it up and be don't be bad about it. Don't be a jerk about it. Don't be the old person.
Right.
But remember that there is still something in there.
And show the bully that there's a wall.
Well, exactly. There's a righteous anger. And it will come out too. At one point in time or another, you will cross a person far enough that there will be something come out. And what comes out will depend on who they are. Because if they've integrated that shadow into who they are, that Christian does have anger in there. And for anybody to come on and say, I'm wrong, you just read where Jesus went in the temple.
So do you think then that, the difference between like the anger we used to have, where it was, or for me anyway, uncontrollable, versus what is godly way of having anger is just that you think you're rational about it. You think. Like let's say somebody
why not?
somebody just for whatever reason, maybe he's drunk and he starts hitting you on one side, like, buddy, stop, this is not cool, and does it again. I'm not going to warn you for a third time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Does it for a third time, and you punch him once. Look, I told you to stop.
Yeah.
You're not angry.
That, yeah, I think so.
But you show him, look, there's a line.
Yeah.
I like that. I never thought about it. I like that.
Because it seems like, to me, it makes sense. And this is one of those times where don't overcomplicate it. Yeah. We could find a million ways to word it. And I guarantee you there's preachers that come on and say, no, you never raise your hand at another person. Well, Jesus raised a whip. I'm just talking about hitting him with a hand. I'm not even going to raise a whip. You know.
As I always do?
Yeah. But I think, there comes that point. And, you know, the person that you are at that point will portray the real you. The anger that comes out, how you respond to that situation and what you do will portray the real you. If you come out and get pissed off and you beat the crap out of them,
right?
That kind of shows the darkness.
That's old man.
That shows the old human.
Yeah,
the old flesh, whatever. Yeah. But you come out, like you said, he hits you once, you tell him, hey, dude, look, I understand, cool. Calm down. He hits you again, hey, I already told you. He hits you again, boom. When he's laying on the ground, officer, you seen that. He hit me twice.
You can even give him a hand, like, look, buddy, I told you to stop.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt you. I don't even want to get in a fight. Yeah. But do not cross this line. And this is all there is to it. Like, you want to talk about this? I'm good with that too. You get into a fist fight afterwards, you settle it like men. Yeah. You shake hands and say, look, this is what happened. How are we going to go about this?
So, because the thing is, if you think about it, the way I guess most Christians we grew up is we do not deal with problems, we react to them.
What do you mean?
So we got, let's say, anger problems. We got anger problems, you just shut it all down.
Yeah, you shelf it.
You shelve it completely.
No, bury it in the toy box.
We react to it. We don't deal with it. We react to it. Everything. That's with that. What my wife's been dealing with, or talking about, like the sexualization of our society. Same thing. We react to all the bad things, to the pornography, everything. We react to it and say everything is bad.
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. I was going to say, where are we going with this? Okay.
That's just two. And there would be more. But if you think about it, most things that are I guess kind of stand out, like anger is one of them that really stands out. Drinking, things like that.
Yeah.
We don't deal with them. We react to the point where it just we don't want to see it. We don't want to deal with it. As Christians, you shouldn't look at it.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, we just put it on the back burner and say, we'll deal with this another time.
Or we never that's the right way to do it. It's just we don't talk about it.
And that's not right.
It's one of those demons you don't talk about.
Like that's one of those things. Okay, let's go to that. Being a dad, me and you have kids. Aaron's got kids. As we get older, how do you go about that? When you see it every day, there's nothing you can do to hide your kids from this. It's gonna happen. How do we go about that? Because if we cover it up, like you just said, we just stick it to the side and we say we don't deal with it. Pornography comes out. It happens.
One day they'll see it. Yeah.
Masturbation. What else is there? Demoralization, sodomizing. All of these things are all around us. Watch any TV show. What is the majority of TV on America right now is that your kid accidentally watches something and you walk in the room and like say it's not even like I remember when I was a kid, PG-13 was PG-13. PG-13 now is rated R when I was a kid. Like, it's about that bad.
Yeah, it is.
So what if your kids are watching something you don't even know? They ask you, hey, can we watch this? Well, I don't really know what it is. What's it rated?
Eventually they will. They will not always grow under your roof.
Yeah, but that's what I'm building up to. How do you deal with that? Not when they live out. Once they're an adult, once they live out of your house, they're an adult.
Yeah,
they make that
your
decision.
educating days are done.
So what do you do now in that situation where something like that comes up?
Good question. I have no idea.
Like I didn't even realize this the other day. We watched an episode of we watched Friends a little bit. You remember that show?
Oh yeah,
it was a funny show, right?
It was. I never could get into it. It's a good show. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those like if you just needed a little bit of dumb entertainment, like just mind numbing. You didn't really care. It was just kind of a sitcom.
I would agree with that.
It's like crude humor.
Exactly. Yeah. But I never would have considered it potty humor. Like. South Park to me was potty humor.
South Park is potty humor.
It's not potty humor. That's straight up like that's in the gutter. I didn't realize that. When I was a teenager, I was like, ha ha ha, it's funny. Now I was like, holy crap. A bunch of heathens and like where golly, like what was I watching? Family Guy, same thing.
I don't like Family.
I don't either. Or Simpsons, you know, like they're evil
Get that
flat
either.
out.
King of the Hill.
That wouldn't.
I like it. I could watch that. That'd be one of mine if I want to burn some brain cells one evening.
But
that'd
even
be one
still,
of those.
like watching them now, you catch little things. You're like, holy crap! I don't remember that.
Yep.
Where did that come from? They must have rewritten this episode.
yeah,
I remember this from back then.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like for just using that, like kids, you know, when they see stuff like that and they kind of look at you like, oh, they said a bad thing. What do you say? Yep. Don't ever say that. That was terrible.
I had a conversation, and this is just about using F-bombs, but I had a conversation. Joshua was playing with my phone,
Okay.
and he randomly stumbled. I don't know where I left that video. There's a video there, a short from Joe Rogan, where he says, "Those people that bring you down, fuck them." Like he throws a bunch of
Who
F-bombs.
Joe Rogan does?
Yes.
I could see that. Like,
It's a little short. It's a very, very good message he has. Joshua's listening to this, and he's listening like, it's good. And then he starts with the F-bombs. And he looks at my wife, and he looks at me. And he said, you ever heard that before? He looks at me, I said, no, look at me. Have you ever heard that before? Well, yeah. You ever use them? No. I said, if it's necessary, I don't mind. Just don't make it a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Like, what, I mean, you can, you see it every now and then. People, when they either see my wife with me, and they'll cuss and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Or kids. It's like, did your parents cuss around you? No, they didn't. What good did that do you?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't do you any good. I don't know why we're shielding them.
oh,
Let's teach them.
Yeah. Well, and
there's very few.
that's the thing is you've got to let them know what the consequences are. No, it's like, it's almost a lot like the thing you said about the angle thing, and a guy he punches you once, he says stop. He punches you again, he says, and you say okay, that's it. Then the third time, it's done. No, and the testy thing about kids is you too can say, look, don't do this. Then say, hey, look, if you continue to do this, it will lead to this. But if they keep on, now it's a tough thing, but sometimes you just got to let them smack into it. You know, it's like the father in the Bible. He says, okay, I don't think that this is good. I don't think you should do it. But when the son pushed, he said, okay, no. And that's a tough thing to do. But if you keep your kids back, me being from the homeschooled place, it's like you do your child no favors at all, keeping them sheltered from everything.
No, it does the opposite.
And
it doesn't get them ready for life.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, it when you shelter them, I could speak from not personal experience, but seeing it through relatives. I don't really think I was ever sheltered.
But
Like-
yeah, and it shows. I mean, you're how much younger than me, and you've got experience that I'm
I'm
learning
not that
about.
much younger than you.
You're pretty much
How old are you?
pushing 40.
I'm 35.
See,
5 years, not even quite.
young
Oh, shut
whippersnapper.
up. We're
Young buck.
that little bit, but
So
still, like going into that, like seeing people sheltered. I've got some family that growing up was really sheltered, like really sheltered.
I was.
You were. So when
I
when
acted
they
out
got to
enough,
that
but
age,
they
well, that's what I was
couldn't.
gonna say. When they got to that age, like I remember, like just hearing the stories because they don't live here, but man, some of the crap they did, dude, like that would have the crap I did was bad enough, and I didn't get as far as they.
It seems that kids that are sheltered, they tend to overdo it when they do let go.
Yeah.
It's like pulling back a slingshot.
Yeah,
The further you pull it back, the further that bullet's gonna go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the more chaotic it's gonna fly too.
Yeah, that's right. And I didn't see that for myself. And I don't think nowadays. I don't think you can. You can't
No.
really shelter.
No.
Yeah, you
I-
can.
Well, straight up homeschooled. Your kids don't have no life, no friends, no
even
nothing.
here,
How else?
Similar schools, and you take them to church and don't let them go anywhere.
But you can't shelter if you send them to private or to public school.
Similar private school.
Well, private school, public school,
Similar
no.
public school is pretty sheltered.
How do you figure?
I just don't see my kids getting into. I mean,
Or is it just that they don't? I mean, if you think about the town I live
possible.
in, Seminole says what 15,000 people population. Just so everybody knows that's bull. It is bull. There's probably more than that Mennonites alone.
Yeah.
I know. We grew up here. There's more than 15,000 people here. Sorry about you. But I live in a town that says 1,500, and there's a little more, but it probably isn't much bigger. Like, it's a tiny little town. I remember my little brother-in-law's graduating class. The entire graduating class might have been 30 people. I sat there thinking, I think I had that many kids in like my 5th grade class. Like my class. Not the whole 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sat there and thought about, like, I moved to a tiny little town. But even there, they're not sheltered. So if you look at, like, we're barely a 1A. What's Seminole? 4, 5, 6? I don't even know. They're huge. Someone's got a huge
Someone
school.
has a huge school. Yes, I know because I pay a
it is
tax
not-
bill for it.
Okay, there you go. See? It's not possible that they're sheltered. The classrooms, the stuff that's taught here, Plains is so small. We don't have a lot of this funding like these big schools have to bring in like some of the lessons, some of the curriculum and things that Seminole offers. So there's no way. So like one for example, sex ed. That was when I was a kid too. Like I remember that. And you walk into that and you kind of think it's a joke and you listen to it and you walk out thinking I know more than they do. You know, things like that. And like my daughter just had to take that. And now it's just weird. You can't say nothing. And she just catches on. It's weird.
A little snigger in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. Like even TV shows,
You know what I like?
she'll kind of
that?
look at you and laugh a little bit. And it's like, don't say nothing.
Oh, I do the opposite. I do that to my kids.
Really?
Oh, me and my wife. Oh,
Huh?
like references where they just might take them a little bit to catch on.
Like
Like,
nap
Dad.
time. Like nap time.
Nap time.
Who really takes naps?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe they're not. I just like.
I think the parenting comes out there.
I guess to a point you're right because I know. So when I found when I was new to TikTok, it wasn't new, but I was new to TikTok.
Okay.
I found my daughter had posted a bunch of videos about her being gay.
Which one?
Tasha.
No.
Oh, but yo, big time.
I would not have
She-
seen that coming.
She no me either. And she even had one where it was her birthday, and she said, "You think I should tell my parents to come out of the closet?" Something like that. Like it was. I think she did it for try to get views.
Uh-huh.
I didn't tell Marcy about this. It's supposed to be the first time Marcy hears about this for real. Oh my God, I can talk to when I get home.
Yeah, you are.
But the reason why I didn't tell Marcy, I was worried she's going to overreact.
Okay.
I figured maybe a phase. I figured if it's a big deal, we'll notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we would somehow notice.
Yeah, I
And-
would
and
think so.
That's why I kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell nothing to her. I didn't say nothing. Now she's got a different account and she's followed me on TikTok and she likes some of my videos. And I figured, yeah, like it was a shock to me at first, and like my first impression, like, what the fuck over, like, straight up.
Okay.
Okay, maybe that was a little borderline too much, but I was shocked.
Yeah.
And then I decided to step back and take a breather. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to monitor the situation. Because the friends she hung out with, the way she hangs out with them, wasn't any different than before. I really didn't see on her lifestyle. I didn't see any difference. But the video,
Well, the thing is, what are they taught that is versus like what we know that is?
I thought my initial impression that they were sheltered. That's the one that I would say they're probably not, because where else would she get it
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
Well, I think it has to come from the school.
Yeah,
And the thing is,
it's
with
cool.
the direction
It's
the schools are
different.
going, it's normalized. It's okay.
Okay, see, when it's that's the thing. Once it's normalized, it will. most kids won't catch on. Now they do it because it's a big deal. Because young girls want to be, they want to have attention.
I see what you're saying.
It's like I volunteered at VBS, the community.
Maybe not after this episode.
Maybe not. But I noticed that, and there's not any black kids, but there's a few mixed race kids there,
Yeah.
and some Mexican kids, and the kids don't see color.
No, they don't. And that's one thing I really admire. Growing up, I didn't really ever think about it as color.
No.
Like I had
You
friends.
do if you sit and listen to the news, though. I get weird around black people if I listen to the
Do
news
you
long
really?
enough.
Well,
Oh
the
yeah,
thing is, have you ever noticed that it only affects grown up interaction? It doesn't.
right. But
affect
why does it?
interaction.
Because they're
I don't know.
impressing you because you're racist, and then you overcompensate, try not to be, or
Yeah,
whatever.
I
Like
see
it's
that.
bullshit. Quit talking about it.
Just leave
if
it
there's
alone.
a problem, go deal with it.
Either you're a person or you're not a person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that because
or if
I
you-
don't like I don't like the color thing.
If you see somebody being racist, go tell them to zip it,
Yeah.
or go educate them with something. But
Because growing up, that's the biggest thing. Like I still see it to this day. I'm gonna say it all in English so everybody understands it. But growing up, we get this same thing. Like, and a lot of it is always demeaning towards Mexicans because so many of the Germans and Mennonites come from Mexico.
Yeah.
But it's always about how Mexicans do this, Mexicans do that. And the thing is, I grew up here. I was born and raised in Texas. I was born in La Mesa, raised right here in Seminole, and I heard that my whole life. From the older generation of Mennonites, like growing up, it was always talking down on everybody else.
yeah,
And growing up, I always sat there like I had a bunch of friends in school that were all Mexicans, like they were all Hispanics, and everybody would sit there and grow in, I guess not necessarily my immediate family, but just the people that we associated with, and would just demean it.
yeah.
And it pissed me off. And maybe that's one reason I am kind of the way I am towards that. Like if I'm considered racist, and I've actually had people mad at me for commenting on things about Mennonites and Germans, and the thing is, I that's what we were growing up. We were Mennonites. I don't call myself that. I don't associate to that name, to that category.
Right.
But it was so racially based,
It was.
and it pissed me off. And now, like, I will not do that to my kids. I refuse. Either you're a person or you're not a person.
Yep.
Color does not count. We cannot do that. Where are all these problems coming from? Black Lives Matter, all that crap that we've had to deal with,
And
is
people overcompensate.
stupid. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we need to teach that. I don't think we sit here and teach against racism and slavery, whatever. What we can do is if it goes back to men being men. If we're just men, you see somebody having a racist whatever, like really drilling down on whatever racist this or black guy that whatever. Go tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you look at like what we do. Like go to a couple of customers that pop out to you the most. Who would they be? If you were to pick two customers that you kind of enjoy associating with the very most.
One is the guy that brings us. That's going to bring. What's that guy from Hobbs? BNI.
Oh, BB&I. Paul.
Paul.
Yeah,
Paul's good,
so
dude.
I'd have to go to three now because Paul wasn't even the first one that popped in.
Paul's good, dude.
Yeah, and mine was Paul Bouchard.
Paul Bouchard. Yes. Yes.
So that's
Ty.
Oh yeah, Ty Gooch.
Ty
And-
Gooch.
But then
Oh, he's
another
good,
one,
dude.
David Garcia.
David Garcia.
Like,
he's
these are-
ginger
Yeah.
Mexican.
But
He's
these are
just
guys
different.
that I will get on the phone with,
Oh yeah.
and when I'm talking to them, like
Not just
I
that. They would
just
give you shirt off their
enjoy
back.
it. Yep.
You know they would.
Yeah.
They're customers.
And that means, and that's one of those things. Like if I was to go back to the way that I grew up, I would not associate with them because that was frowned upon.
They were a different class of people.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, these are people that I can get on the phone with and I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would help you out.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, if anybody would ever tell me that they meant anything less than me, I would call bullshit. I don't care.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The people you just mentioned, I have a lot of very good friends.
Yeah.
And the ones, I don't know if anybody listening to this, I have some very close friends that would do the same. But most of the people that I grew up with will not give what these guys would if I was in trouble.
Okay.
Most of them wouldn't. Like, I know that, like, David Garcia
Mm-hmm.
and BB&I, Paul, I don't know about Ty. I don't know if we know him that well. But a lot of these guys, they would literally give you, like, not figuratively, like, they would, if they had a truck down, you need a transmission, they'll pull a transmission out of it and let you have it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They would.
If it was an emergency, yeah, David's one of those. Like I know for a fact.
How many Mennonites do you know that would do the same thing
None.
for you,
Well, no, I do one. I know one.
Johnny?
Oh, there's two.
There's two.
Golly.
There's a few good dudes
Well,
out there.
Abe Wall.
Abe Wall's a good guy.
Abe Wall's one of those. If I got in a bind, I know for a fact if I called him and said, "Hey, I am seriously in a bind. Do you have one?" If he had it,
Yeah.
he's gonna give it to me.
He would, yeah, and he'll jump through hoops to get it to you.
Yeah.
No, there is a few.
Well, the thing is, there isn't every culture, and that's
Yeah.
exactly why. Like,
Yep.
if I was considered racist, it would have to be against Mennonites. But even in that culture, that's the thing. There's as many good ones there too.
No, yeah, that and not just that. If that culture is lacking, a lot of that can be put back on us. Why
Oh,
are
it
we not
can.
making
Oh,
a
yeah.
difference?
They can, and,
Oh,
the thing is, and most of it's generational. It's dying out now, and the thing is, I wish there was a way to portray this that it wouldn't come off to where it hurt the older generation so much because it is important. We want to hold on somewhat to the culture of our ancestors.
Right.
That's kind of what it goes to, right?
And
I
it
think
should be appreciated.
It should, but I don't hold on to that.
Right,
Like
but
I
don't
don't
overdo
want
it.
it. Well, I don't want it really instilled in my kids. And you call that what it is. To me, it's I'm American and I follow the belief of America to an extent of where Christianity and politics and everything intersect. But I don't trace the lineage of the way the Mennonites believe back to Menno Simons, all of that. I don't believe that. I don't live that. You know, it's just not me. But so many people want to hold on to that heritage, I guess is the word I'm looking for, not culture. So and I see that. You want to know where your family came from, and you want to hold on to the heritage of your family, kind of the ancestry, I guess.
Which we don't really have to hurt, do we?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, we don't.
We can respect the elder generation.
Yeah,
for
but,
keeping their,
but what
their
I'm
things.
getting at is they want to hold on to it so much and instill it in the next generation
That's
that we really need to learn that you teach them of the heritage, but don't deprive them of what's here.
So some should, and I think the ones that should will like it. Like somebody needs to keep it so, 200 years from now, in a museum somewhere, we can show like this is where we came from.
Yeah,
But there's people
Yeah.
that like that kind of stuff. They will like.
yeah.
wanna
There's
keep up to it.
historians that
Yes.
there's people that
in every
well,
culture.
look at Doug Engel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
He's an odd
there-
character.
But there's people like that
Good
can
dude.
go and log all of this and they can remember this. And I'm not against that. I think that's important, not only because of
Right.
for the Mennonites that want to see this,
Right.
but in general for people who are interested in
Exactly.
history.
Just don't expect everybody
Well,
to follow it.
But
Exactly. Yeah. Don't put us all in
Yeah.
that exact same category.
Let the guy
Yeah.
that likes this keep up. Like Doug.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
books everywhere and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's what he likes to do. Let him do it.
Yeah.
And talking to him is a joy.
Yeah. But take the good stuff. No, take the good
Well, no,
things
you,
out.
You can't take the good without the bad. If you take just the good stuff and you leave the bad, that's kind of like there's a song, I don't remember who sings it, but it's something about, I think it's We Are Messengers. It's one of theirs. It says, I didn't know what it meant to be
Sidewalk
free.
Prophets.
No, I don't think so. But it's like, I didn't know what it meant to be healthy till I was sick or something like that. But you can't have one without the other. If we take the good history, well, think about it. If we take all the good things, all the
What would be considered good?
well, technology, for example, all the things we've learned from the time of like Henry Ford engines up to what we do now. Look at that. If you didn't know about every failure that it took to get there, we'd make those same mistakes.
Oh,
This is
well,
the
yeah,
point.
of course,
So you
yeah.
can't say take
yes.
the good. No, that you have to teach the bad. But what you need to do is not instill that exact same
Yeah.
lifestyle into the modern people.
Yeah. And, it's what some of the things, and the church has really failed really bad at this, because it's like you've got all of these cultures, and they've got roots back to really demonic stuff, and I see it all the time, and I see it in things that you guys do. No,
See, I would argue that to say that the Mennonites are like they're rooted into a demonic. I think when most of these come, you're looking
at all.
Well, like give me an example then.
Spirit that goes into a curse that you've got to break.
See what
And the thing about
I'm not sure that I see that.
because I think a lot of that we use as an excuse for not bettering ourselves.
Yeah, because all of ours, like whether we go to saying like the Mennonite culture, because that's one that applies to us, or yours just as an Anabaptist coming out in general, they all stem from the exact same belief. So all of our roots come from the same area.
Well, you think that.
Well, no, even
But-
history has taught
But
that.
small things will talk the would say in every time.
Yeah, but if we say that
The
one of them
thing
is, then we
is-
have to say all of them are.
Not
Yeah.
just that, like if you think about like where Martin Luther, Menno Siemens, when they left the church from what the gospel they brought out was so new,
Yeah,
and even from that to now, it's gotten way better.
because I think it has.
Everything's gotten better.
But I don't think like the reason I'll argue that this is not a demonic thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Sure, is there a demonic influence into what led it? I don't think so because
parts of it can, but everything
well,
will be distorted.
I don't think in that because what led them to leave the church?
No,
it
I mean,
had to
not
be a
them
spirit-filled thing.
themselves.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying them
Like,
themselves,
so
but like the
branches.
Well, yeah, but I mean like the original leaving of the Catholic Church. If we were to say that it was demonic influence, then we're basically saying that the spirit was a demon because
just
he
that.
No,
had
no,
to
no.
instill them to do that.
No.
And even after that, in order for them to basically take what they did, I wouldn't even be able to go as far as to agree that that was demonic because I think what it is a poor interpretation
Yeah.
of someone who was not knowledgeable
Well,
for that time.
Where we're not at now in history, we can really look back and say that it's true. Because if you think about where they started,
Uh-huh.
even where I was 5 years ago,
Okay.
we've really learned a lot about the
Well, we
gospel.
have. But it took
So
going through traditional teaching that
Right.
we were brought up in the same way. Let's use them and the Catholic Church. They were taught in this, and when they saw something they didn't agree with, and they opened their mouth, they left that. So now they put themselves into an uncharted territory, something that was not even heard of at that time, and completely went just off the reservation. And in there, that's kind of why where
Yeah.
I know you use this a lot. There has to be room for mistakes. And when you go from something that is instilled into you as a child, like born into this, grown through this as an adult, and now all of a sudden this is just like
the gospel. This is
it's
the only way to heaven.
boom, yeah. Now you're teaching
But-
a complete 180. You will get stuff wrong,
Yeah.
and that's what I
it's not
see has
specifically
led through the
demonic.
generations. I don't think the teaching of any of those, the religious side of it, I don't see the teaching as demonic. I think lost in translation. Like, does anybody
Yeah.
remember playing the game in school? You said the name where we all line up in a row.
Telephone or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you whisper in one ear.
Yeah.
So Menno Siemens started whispering in this ear, and look where we are. How many years later? A couple
And how
hundred
much
years.
better.
We are now, but how much worse did it have to get?
But a lot of that was
Yeah.
persecution.
Well, yeah, some of it was persecution, but I mean even the teaching. We went into a
But it didn't go down from there. It was just taught. It was what was brought out was very crude.
well, it was crude, but we went into a thing that we were considered where you are how would you word it? Very sheltered. Let's use that.
Right, but that started
Well-
right with Menno Siemens.
You think so?
Oh yes, oh yes.
How do you figure?
Because the history that Peter Entz, Marcy's uncle, my uncle, he had a whole week. I only made it to 2 evenings. He had a whole week on the history of Mennonites.
Okay.
And Menno Siemens himself said one of the biggest things he regretted, even though he didn't see any other way he could have done it, was that you had to be a member of the church to be a part of it. You had to be a member of the church, and that if your husband or somebody was not a believer, they had to leave the house. Like they could not be a part of the family. And
And see, that's still going on in
right,
South America.
But see,
amongst-
and that's the one thing he regretted the most. But he said it's the only way he could protect himself because he was being searched for. It wasn't because that they weren't Christian. They weren't supposed to be a part of the family. It's he couldn't trust that
No.
they wouldn't say where he was.
So then that goes to let's say
It's
now going
misinterpreted.
to yeah, but let's say now going to kind of like you said some demonic influence. Would we say now that where the church is now, is it a demonic influence that has kept it there and
don't
kept
think
its
so.
eyes
It's just-
closed,
it's-
or is it just ignorance?
It's ignorance,
Okay,
and it's
Yeah,
holding.
that's kind of
holding
what
on to
I was
tradition.
leaning towards, and that's
It's
what I
easy
wanted
to say that's demonic.
kinda bring that
influence. I
out.
don't
Yeah.
think that's that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is these people being kept in ignorance, but that's making them stay in a place where they are not useful to the kingdom of God.
I agree with that.
Right,
And-
but
and
that's
it-
that could also be our fault.
Yeah, but that's
Well,
one that we were
but-
taught. The more
But-
you know, the more danger you're in.
Yes.
But also, you guys broke out.
Right, but
No,
here's the
But
thing.
it took pretty drastic changes to get us there.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
here's the thing.
It does. It
Even-
takes an encounter.
Even in
I think it took more than an encounter. It might have been a few.
But I think a lot of that can be a passing. Like if we carry that flame, that torch, like subconsciously, like we used to,
Yeah.
people will notice and they'll want
Yeah.
it. And I think so. Like even like the people you're saying, there's like a lot of our Mennonites are taught like the less you know, the better, but the less you will be responsible for. And they believe it, and they want to believe it, and they want it to be true because it makes sense. But I think
Well, it always seems to me like it's an easy out.
it is, but the people want that to make sense because that's what they've been taught, and it seems right. But I think it does. I think if somebody like the way we used to carry the fire, if we cross their path in a conversation, it will spark an interest. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we can make a we don't have to go preach to them. We can make a difference by just having a regular conversation that they come fix a truck or something. Regular conversation can spark a difference where they will search, might question it. That because that's all
Is
you
there
need is
something
somebody
that we didn't know?
somebody start to ask questions about what they believe, and they'll find the truth.
But the thing is that's also a dangerous thing, though. Like if they just start to ask questions, you oftentimes open them up to what now is a million different things.
Yeah.
Right? But they will if the Holy Spirit's alive, He will guide them.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. If we open that door and we trust that He's going to take it.
He will because there's room for mistakes for them as there's for us.
Yeah.
I believe that. I mean, how many different ways did we screw it up?
I
Shit,
agree.
we're right here now, getting back to the
Like,
start.
If we were to call right now, let's go back 3 years now. Let's go back there. Just thinking about it. What would you have called us? Like
Crazy.
crazy. Definitely, that definitely suits.
To
But
the top of the
I
list.
mean, use like a term for modern Christianity. You got we weren't Pentecostal. We weren't really we weren't evangelical. I guess we were borderline charismatic. What would we be? Like, have you ever looked at the terms used now? Like, there's names I hadn't even heard of till. One thing that crossed me a couple of weeks ago: conservative Christianity, progressive Christianity. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever looked at any of that?
No. Should I?
No, stay away.
No.
Yeah,
No.
you know.
Save your brain cells?
I did. I like to learn. Like I want to know everything I can.
It's a good philosophy, I think.
Growing up, the term knowledge is power. I read, I studied, I did everything I could. And
reading.
now it's kind of how I am now. I got really bad about that. But I want to know everything. And I was told oftentimes, like, don't ask so many questions. Or sometimes I would get this, like, well, nobody can answer that question. Like, well, no, somebody should. There's a question here. There's an answer for it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of questions, you'll never know the answer to. That's bull. I don't believe that.
But there's people that want to stay in ignorance.
And maybe that's what it is. But when I come across this, I listened to a debate between a group of conservative Christians and progressive Christians. And I had never heard some of those things before. And
What's
I sat
conservative?
there, basically. This is what gets me. I would not have thought we were conservative. I would have thought,
I think the way we used to be, we were
no,
conservative.
well, yeah. I would have thought that was a conservative Christian. There's a movement out there. Like, I remember hearing all this stuff about charismatics. You watch the charismatics. They're a dangerous movement. There's a charismatic movement moving across this country that's dangerous to the kingdom. I remember hearing that and always wondering, like, what the heck is what's so dangerous? And these were names that people that I've been told many times are people I shouldn't listen to, but like Todd White, Copeland's, Jesse Duplantis, like all these people that are considered mega church leaders or whatever evangelists that people are that claim are false doctrine. You call them what you want, I don't care. But I listened to them and I learned a lot from them. But the thing that got me is those are the ones that I always thought they were talking about.
Right.
And
That's what I would have figured.
And I sat there and listened to it, and I'm like, but what they say makes sense, and it's biblical. Like, you can argue it. I still stand by this point. Listen to a prophet preacher. You might not like what he's got to say, but guess what? You live in a world that thrives on money. He has a teaching on money. You don't have to like the way he lives, but guess what? You listen to him, you're going to learn something. Listen to a guy like Todd White. What's he going to teach
Listen to
you?
what makes sense.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily what makes sense. Listen to Todd White. Half the time, he don't make sense, but guess what you're going to get out of that? You're gonna come out
I don't
of
much
there.
care for him.
Well, I know you don't, but the thing is,
He's a good
I
preacher.
know
though.
you respect
he's
him
good
for
guy.
what he does.
Oh, I do. He's a good guy.
See, that's exactly it.
I think he hits a younger crowd though.
Yeah, he does. And the thing is, I still like it. But you can walk in there filled with hatred and whatever, but you're gonna walk out of there with a heart.
Oh yeah. No, you
Because
can't
that's
deny
what he
that the guy has a
does.
heart for Christ.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it.
But then look at Andrew Womack. He's going to teach you supernatural. He's going to teach these things that
Yeah,
we now have shunned but so many times around us. But that's not the point. If you look at this wide spectrum of these guys that are considered kind of the outlaws of the Christian faith, is what I would call them.
Right. Yeah.
Or Daniel Canella likes to use the term dangerous Christians, League of Dangerous Men, or whatever he uses. But I think they kind of fit the modern version of that. But that's not even what's dangerous. They are not dangerous. Progressive Christianity, the ones that come out and they will openly preach that homosexual relationships are okay, that they're biblical, or that abortion is okay, because what do you do in that situation where the mom is at risk and the baby's at risk? Are you willing to sacrifice the mom for the baby? Why not sacrifice the baby? That's bullshit. Like flat out. Like I'm not one to cuss, but no, I'll argue that all day with whoever. I don't give a crap. That's one of those things. If you say you're a Christian, you have faith, and then you use that argument, now you're basically saying that I've got faith all the way till it comes up to my life, but when it comes up to my life, no, God doesn't have it in his hands.
make my own decision.
Exactly. So basically, everything you've just said is a load of crap at that point. So I will argue that, and I did not know that this was such a big thing, but that you preach that it's okay, gender neutrality, whatever is okay. Like it is biblical in their eyes, and so this is a dangerous movement that I didn't even know existed till recently, and they've been around for years.
So I would agree. So yeah, that's absolutely wrong. But there's also another problem.
Okay,
that as Christians, a lot of times I was taught this to a big degree, that like somebody that is gay, it's just something that it's not really true, or this mixed gender stuff that's happening. It is. Whoever's in it, they believe it.
Yeah.
So
they do.
The problem with like the answer that the church I grew up in, the answer they had was, well, it's just not true, and you should just quit. Well, that's not right.
Oh no, I agree.
There's got to be a better way, and I don't know what that
I've talked
looks
about
like.
it. What would we do if somebody like that applied for a job at the shop?
Bro, I don't know.
We'd hire them. I mean, if we're hiring at the time, I would not discriminate, because I don't feel we can treat them differently. They're still people.
Yeah.
So you show them the exact same love you show the next person.
Yeah.
And you hope that they find something. I mean, do you hope any worse for let's
The
use
problem
like
is it's such a polarizing subject that it is hard not to overcompensate one way or the other.
Well,
explain.
But the
With the
thing is do you want to see it? No. Do you
See what?
Want to see what that truly is? No. It's like to see that spirit on a
got no
person
desire.
is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my life.
And the thing is, I think it is a demonic influence.
Sure.
It is.
But even
But the
still,
light, the darkness is not afraid of light.
Well, I know. I've seen it.
The darkness.
on
I
them.
mean, the light's not afraid of the darkness.
I was gonna say what?
Yeah, I'm glad you caught.
Yeah.
I got that bass backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the light is not afraid of the darkness.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Like, I would still welcome
the darkness
that.
doesn't fight the light.
No,
It just removes
doesn't.
itself.
Yeah, because I feel like a year ago, had I been put in a situation to deal with the situation, like I think I'd have been fine. I think even a person that if I interacted with people like that, I feel like I was spirit led.
Could be completely unbiased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I would
now
like
I don't
to
think
be
I could. Let's go back, man. 5 years, no, 6. Go back 6 years. Ask my wife if she would have even wanted to see that around me. The things I would have said, like you talk about, like we said earlier,
Tongue lashing.
racial. Oh, tongue lashing is nothing. I would have demeaned people in ways that I couldn't even imagine saying things now.
So, be careful where I
that's
include
it.
this.
Yeah.
But
Because you have
there's
to be
still
careful
a
you don't
lot
say
of
it's okay.
There's a lot of the Christianity that still does that. Instead of they demean it in a way where it's twisted
Not
into
only
half
that,
Christian.
but what
thing.
happens if it's somebody in their family? What do? Shun them.
Oh,
Disown him and kick him out. We have butchered the one commandment that Jesus gave us.
yep.
The one. He literally says
Love
there's
your neighbor.
one.
Yeah.
And he says all the rest will stem off of this. And we've killed it.
You should not persecute them. You should feel sorry.
You
for
shouldn't even
them.
feel sorry for them.
Oh, I do.
Why?
Very much.
It's not a pity. It's teach them better. We could sit here and pity the whole world, and
See-
we made absolutely no difference.
That's the thing.
Well,
That is my
that's the
problem. I
thing.
have a problem not
It's
feeling sorry for
sad.
them. But the thing is, there's feeling sorry for somebody doesn't fix anything. That's
Exactly.
the problem.
No.
That's what I figured, because I can look at myself like I could sit there and wallow in self-pity the fact that I found out I screwed up and that I'm not where I was. I can sit there and either pity myself or I can do something.
Yes.
And if we sit there, let's say I got to punish my kids, I feel bad. I can sit there and pity them and wallow in that, and then I will build up something for that, or I can get up and do something.
Yeah.
And you can
fix
teach
it.
them better. You can do something.
That's
we
that-
should
that-
not.
That's what I'm talking
pity-
about. The bias, one way or the other. You're either sorry or you're pissed.
Yeah,
There's a middle.
I would rather
ground.
be pissed.
There's-
At least
there's
if I'm
gotta be a middle
pissed, I can
ground.
work through that.
True.
Well, I'm pissed off right now.
No, that's not right either.
I'm kind of pissed right now.
I mean, me and Matt, but
I know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? Like I'm gonna reference Todd White here. He has a sermon where he talks about, I don't know if it's his sister or something that's living in a relationship, something like that, and she says, "You can't tell me God doesn't love me." He says, "No, I can't." He says, "The only thing I can say is that you don't love God, because it says if you love me, you will follow my commandments." And that's a harsh lesson. Like the first time I heard
But
that,
even that, you can be. You have to be careful how you can really lash
yeah,
with
and the
that
thing
one.
is, that one fit that situation,
If
but
in,
it doesn't
in a
mean
loving
it will
in a
every
loving
time.
manner, it's very good.
Yeah.
But you can really use that as a
Yeah,
as,
you can. You
as
can
a
twist
lashing.
that to fit
Yeah.
your.
Like you little bastard. If you love, like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's
If it's your agenda to demean them,
Yeah.
you could say, "Listen here, you don't love God.
Yeah.
You hate Him. You show it every single day." You can say that, and a
And
lot of that is
demean them
just
in
the
that way.
tone. Exactly.
Yes.
The tone of my voice
It's not
basically
even
says,
it's a heart. It's a heart thing.
"Well, it's the heart coming through."
Absolutely.
What is it? Out of the mouth, the heart speaks, or whatever. So I don't remember how that goes, with something like that. Right now, that fits.
No, it is. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah,
This
I didn't think it would be, but I
this
I
has
like
been
it.
rough
Yeah.
on me.
But that's the point. We brought out this whole thing we've been talking about. Like
I haven't had
this
these
was
emotions
yesterday
in a
when
long
we talked
time.
about yesterday. When I said, "Why is it going on?" Like all around us, we're seeing this, and we're not fixing it. We're not. We have become the problem, not the solution.
So there's, I was listening to a message yesterday from Dan Mohler, and he talks about how Paul tells the Corinthians to be careful and not forget the simple gospel.
Yeah. Well, Paul was one of the biggest ones to speak on that.
Yeah.
Like this is the one that I use
What
on
hit
a
me was
daily.
that it's simple,
Yeah. Well, it is simple.
right?
Go heal the sick.
But it hit me
What else?
yesterday.
Like, well, I know, but like you go through all of that. You know, visit widows and orphans in their trouble. Like those were the things. It was very simple. Preach Jesus Christ. Like I really like Michael Koulianos. I don't know if you listen to him. At Jesus
Not
Image,
much.
they do the Jesus in Florida, whatever, Jesus convention.
I know him.
Okay, so he's got this little running joke between him and I can't remember another pastor that Eric Gilmore. So they have this little thing. What are you going to preach about Sunday? Jesus. What are you going to preach about? Jesus. Like what else do you preach about, right? That's the
Yeah.
one thing you preach. What is the gospel? The gospel is Jesus.
Jesus.
Every
So
day.
yeah, that should be our focus is Jesus, and yet we don't. We've butchered the gospel, and then we sit here and wonder. Like this is actually an example. We've butchered what the message is, and we sit here and wonder why we're
Yeah.
dealing with this. What did Paul say? If anyone comes and preaches to you a different gospel than we do,
Even
he's
if it's an
accursed.
angel.
Yeah, and he says it multiple times. What, 2-3 times? And he says, even if an angel preaches a different gospel than we do, he's cursed.
Yeah.
And we
That's a
wonder
bold
why we
statement.
see all this. Yeah. But we wonder why churches are falling apart,
But
why they're
you
losing
don't-
all their members and all these things. We've screwed up the simple gospel.
You know, here's another thing. How did Paul get to the confidence where he's like, "Look, gentlemen, if anybody preaches something else than what I do," that's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah. Well, it's relationship.
It is. He knew
It is.
what he was saying was right.
Where's that relationship today?
I'm telling you, dude. I'm going back to basics. I want that back that we had. This desire to see people come alive.
Yeah.
whether they're completely dead, unbreathing, or if they're still alive and just
well, even
half
this,
dead.
like today, where have these arguments been? These debates,
yeah.
these heated
We've been
fellowships.
we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
but we hadn't seen it.
No, we haven't. But we have been talking about it.
Yeah,
So, in only the original King James, I think, says
where are you at?
it's 2 Corinthians. Let me double check I got this right. 2 Corinthians 1:12. For our rejoicing is this, the testimony of our conscience, that in simplicity and godly sincerity, not with fleshly wisdom. Like that's like one of those those few little words, that half a sentence. That's like one of those Jordan Peterson things. You can write a whole book on 5 words that he says. This is one of those. I read this yesterday. And I couldn't get it. I read it in Passion Translation, still didn't get it. Now it's coming through, but I still don't get it.
Just turn the volume up on your headset a little bit.
I was about to.
It's coming.
Am I not loud enough?
Yeah.
It says, for our rejoicing is this, the testimony of our conscience, that in simplicity and godly sincerity, not with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God, we have had our conversation in the world, and more abundantly to you, word. I actually have no idea what it says. I still don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try to
Amplified
find
Classic.
I'm gonna find it in ASB. Where are we at? 1 Corinthians what?
1 Corinthians
1:12.
1:12.
1:12.
Where yours says simplicity, ASV says holiness.
The Amplified says, this is our reason for proud confidence. Our conscience testifies that we have conducted ourselves in the world in general, and especially toward you, with pure motive and godly sincerity, not in human wisdom, but in the grace of God. That is his gracious loving kindness that leads people to Christ and spiritual maturity. I don't think this was exactly what I was looking for. But there it is. Passion Translation says, we rejoice in saying with complete honesty and clear conscience that God has empowered us to conduct ourselves in a holy manner and with no hidden agenda.
Mm-hmm.
God's marvelous grace enables us to minister to everyone with pure motives, not in the clever wisdom of the world. This is especially true in all our dealing with you. So that's actually what hit me yesterday a little bit. No hidden agenda. How often we have an agenda of either bringing Christ to people when it's not our job. It's just our job to go talk to them in Christ.
Just speak of him. Don't speak
Yeah.
directly. Like don't push him on them.
Because once you don't have an agenda, then whatever questions they ask or whatever they challenge you on, you can answer in truth, no matter what it might look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, let's go to a couple of those we've had where we had a lot of comments come in, and you know what I mean? We go to saying that we were preparing for that in a sense where we had an agenda, but also the questions that were asked were oftentimes brought in a way that there was an agenda there. And a lot of times, I think we were throwing crap back and forth.
Right.
We
Because
never
we had our own
accomplished
agenda.
anything. Yeah, we never accomplished anything.
No.
I know that. I know because
That was just for the sake of a good argument.
it was.
And the thing is, you know, like thinking back on time, was like, was it fun? Sure, it was fun.
Yeah.
Did it help anybody? Not even a
Probably
little.
not.
No, heck no. What was that term you used to use? Throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks? That's what we did from both sides.
Yeah, we did.
We never accomplished anything. Nobody learned nothing.
I want to go agendaless.
Yeah. How do we do that?
I don't know, bro.
Now we go back to another one. Like today, I don't know why a lot of your old sayings come about. What does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like tomorrow when I go to work?
Yeah.
Damn it,
To
man.
not have an agenda.
This has been good tonight.
Yeah.
Damn it, I like it.
So I was thinking, and I got super mad too. The just early week And I thought back to that last time that I was that mad. And I was talking to a pastor, and we have been going on and on and on. And I said, why are you separating Jesus from the Spirit? You cannot do that. You cannot take the gifts from the Spirit. You cannot take Christ from the Spirit. They are the same. And this guy was going on and on and on. And I looked that guy in the eye and I said, you're scared, aren't you? And he's like, why? And I said, you are scared because if you fully let the Spirit in, you have to let go of all of the demons in your life. And
But I don't see how people wouldn't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You say that, but there are things in all of us. No man is perfect.
I realize that, but I don't want him there.
His ways, but sometimes you don't even know it.
I don't worry about those.
But
feel.
what's in the Spirit comes in. It convicts you to get rid of them.
There you go, and that's when we're going to do it.
That's hard and that is tough, and you have to go in without fear. No, I don't
know, because if you think about what is bravery, what does that mean? Or courage. Use courage.
Yeah.
Courage would basically be summed up as bravery in the presence of fear.
Yeah.
I don't think you go in without fear. Fear is always there. Fear is going to be part of the flesh. Courage is pushing through. It doesn't matter how scared you are.
Yeah.
I mean, and what I do as a volunteer.
I mean, I can't say I've been in a situation like this, but like this whole time, let's say everything that happened over the last few months. I had testosterone issues last week, worst week of my life, as far as I can remember. All this, the whole time, I'm looking for a way out.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to wallow in this bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, see, I get that, and the thing is, I kind of get what you're saying. Like you wanted an out,
Right?
and I think sometimes
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, well, that's true, but at the same time, I think sometimes we grow comfortable in the fact that we're there. Like, I get what you're saying. I don't think that applies to everybody, though. I don't want to live in that. Yeah. And do I think, is it scary? Yeah, oftentimes confronting some of the things that we live inside of us or that we deal with, sure, it's scary, but to say we go into it without fear, I don't think that's even physically possible. But you can't let that fear go until after you've accepted it, because as long as it's there, you can walk head on into it, but the fear is going to be there. Yeah. Like to say it's not, to me, would be kind of a
well, isn't that what fuels adrenaline junkies?
What, fear?
Fear?
No, a lot of them is a lack of fear.
No.
How not? You don't think
you get no adrenaline out of something you don't fear.
Well, I guess that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Because I just kind of use a real life example.
I just think they have a way of overcoming it.
Maybe.
And enjoy.
Like as a volunteer firefighter, say you pull up to a wreck. The first couple of seconds when you pull up to a major car accident, like a major 1050.
Yeah.
You're scared. For anyone to pull up and not be scared and say that their training is everything, like they work like clockwork, is bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
It's not true. There's a sense inside of you. If you don't have it, you're a robot. It has to be there. But the thing is, you use that just like anything else. No, you don't. You have there is a sense of fear that kind of drives you in order to do it.
If you're effective.
Yeah. And the thing is, the same way going into a structure fire. You're not going to go into a burning building knowing it could kill you without some fear. And this is not any different. To go in and, like, we often say, the devil's already lost, so he's a defeated enemy, so we shouldn't fear him. That is kind of, to me, depending on the interpretation or the time, like the example of it, because when it says he walks around like a roaring lion, he still does.
Oh yeah,
I think
because
he's extremely effective, no matter if he's beat it or not. Because look at us.
Not just us. Look at the world we live in. Look at how much crap is going down.
Right.
He is, like you said, he's effective. And so we know what he's capable of. At the same time, we know what he's not capable of. So do you go in and say that you're strong with Christ? Like, you have the Spirit inside of you. Do you flee from the devil? No. It says, he will flee. It does not say you will flee. So do we turn tail and run? No, we don't. But sometimes sitting there in the midst of it while you're waiting for that answer can be the scariest moment of your life.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the perseverance that pushes through that fear is what oftentimes makes the strong person.
Yeah.
So if we said that we're scared and the fear has to go, I don't think that's even possible.
Well, let me reword sort this. Which one are you more scared of? Are you more scared of losing the things that you want and the things that you love, or are you more scared of choosing God's love and God's will for your life? Which are you more scared of?
His presence.
Me too.
I remember. That's the only one
I remember Andrew Womack talking about the time where he said he thought he lost God, like God had left him, and he freaked out. And then he said, then God gave him the sense of what happens. And to think about that, like there's often times where I feel like I'm alone. I've felt that, but I think even in those times where I felt that, like let's say you have a night terror, like I haven't had one in forever, but there was a time heart disease runs in my family, and I have many times said this, and like Herman and them know that ends with me. I refuse for that to travel to my kids.
Change DNA.
Yeah, that one.
Supernaturally.
Exactly. But when I used to deal with a lot of this, I would wake up in the middle of the night freaking out, like, if I have a heart attack, I'm going to die. And I would sit there and think about that, but I was terrified that I would die. But at the same time, I knew that I didn't have to. So I would sit there and pray, but I would pray through my fear, like in the midst of all that. And sometimes it'd be 15, 20 minutes where my heart would start to race in a way I literally thought I was going to die. Like, I have no choice. This is going to be it. But did I stop? No. And that fear was a
tangible
tool.
Thing to get you through it.
Yeah. So even in that moment where I thought I was going to die, when you get that little sense of presence, I am far more scared of losing that than I am the things I have here.
Exactly. Because I like the reason why so many things we did the office and bought another building and all that. Last year, and I might have talked about that before, but last year I was going home one day and I realized I had, outside of my house in the shop, I had one payment, which was the dually.
Yeah.
And I had no money to show for it. And I decided, which I have always had this idea of, like, we'll work until we're broke and then we'll try something else. And because I don't have a looker backer, like I said the other day, I don't think I really grasp how much it would suck to lose everything.
Well,
but I'm not worried.
But think about it for 1 second. Let's say we defaulted and lost the shop. What would we do?
Rent one.
We'd load up pickups. We've often been asked, "You want to come do the jobs out on the scene, on location?" Would anything change?
I would rent a shop.
Well, we could, but the thing is, even that wouldn't scare us.
No.
Load up.
That's
and
what
go.
I'm saying. Like, there's.
You can't, even in the midst of this failure that we've kind of lost our way, lost our I guess our guiding light. Even in the midst of that, there's enough drive. There's enough, and the thing is, I 100% believe
overdrive.
Yeah, but I am 100% fixed on that. Our drive was the Spirit. There's no way that in the midst of what everybody's freaking out is the biggest recession, we're about to open a trucking company.
Yeah, no, I think the Spirit put a lot in our lap.
Yeah. Well, but we were given the tools, but we were also given a vision, a drive, don't stop.
I think the problem we've had so much issues is that Matthew 9 that says, seek ye first the kingdom of God. We've quit. I've quit.
I won't argue that.
I think that's
I know
why
you're
it's
right
been
there.
So damn hard.
I guess I hadn't thought about applying that one to the shop. I see that in myself. Like, seek ye first the kingdom. I have many nice Bibles. Very nice. I have a lot of canonical texts at home.
Used to carry 2 of them everywhere I went. I would not leave the house without them. And I finally took them out of my backpack because I never took them out anymore.
I have some even other tools at home. Like, you remember the biblical map you have?
Yes.
The timeline?
Oh, yeah.
So I had been telling Lisa I wanted one. She bought me one for Christmas. I have a huge timeline. I've pulled it out twice. When I first got it, like people would come over, I would show it off. Be like,
Matthew 6:33.
Yeah, bro.
Matthew
This is
6:33
cool.
is what Mercy said.
Matthew 6:33. There you go.
But I've stopped. I have. You've got that set of Greek Septuagint.
Yes.
Well, or not Greek.
Well, it's a
I have the Greek Septuagint. It's
Something.
Encyclopedia Judaica.
yeah. That's the
Well,
one.
I wanted one. You got one, and like we started going through it, and Lisa knew that, and she bought me a whole set for Christmas.
I'm gonna put mine up in the new podcast room
Yeah.
once it's up.
Because like those things like that, like I have every study tool I need, and it's sitting there collecting dust. It goes back to I remember being a kid.
Well, the
My-
main one, the freaking Bible, bro.
that self.
I used to have two of them. I used to carry my NASB and
Yeah.
my Passion in this backpack. It would go everywhere I went, and I finally one day took it out because I would never remove it out of the backpack anymore.
You know, I see what you're saying. Is mine still in your truck?
No, it's in the rocket.
I don't
It's
know.
in the Raptor.
Is it?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know where it is.
I opened the console earlier or yesterday when I was driving it. I kind of admired that you still had the Bible in there.
I didn't even know I had it.
Okay, well,
Now
Like
you
that's
know.
sad.
there was some admiration there for you.
You know what I used to keep, and it's kind of a contradictory, and you call it what you want. I used to keep my Bible on top of 9mm in there.
It's a good. I think it's a good combination.
It is, in my opinion. But the thing is, like even thinking about it now, like we talked about earlier, you know, the whole how many times do they strike you? Like I still stand by what I said, but there was a time where that thing was in there for what I would consider good use. Like you wouldn't pull it for no reason. You wouldn't
Right.
play with it. It's not a toy. And thinking about it now, there was a time I was qualified to say that, and now I don't think I would be
Why?
because of that. Like I've left the Bible alone. I've left the Word alone, and I've gone to what would be a worldly, manly view of that.
Are you saying that we? Because I think I am right there with you on this. That we don't have the appreciation for life we should.
We don't.
I think you're right.
I think we need to find that. That is going back to the basics. What started New Colony? Death started it,
Life.
and it was appreciation for life.
No.
And we dropped it.
There it is.
Well, what's out and
So
you
hard
know?
for me, man.
Oh,
It is because
Shit. I don't know why it hit me like that.
well, I you know what I saw pulling up our building's right next to a funeral home. You see what's going on next door?
Another funeral.
Ceremony or whatever, a memorial.
Yeah.
And I seen that turn in the corner there, and I was like, "Yo, what are the odds that happens today?"
Yeah, that we have a podcast.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And that's rough.
That is rough.
Like thinking back where we started, that's rough.
Yeah, we used to look for
Four
places like
guys
that.
in your shop. What would have happened if we give them the opportunity?
Yeah, we used to look for places like that.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where are
man.
those guys? If you guys are listening, losers.
yeah.
It's been a tough one, man.
But when
we
I
should really
came-
call this back to basics.
2 little kids, 12 and 11.
What?
That's what Marcy said.
Aw.
What do you mean? I'm kind of lost.
I'm
The-
assuming towards the ceremony reference.
The
that you just
ceremony.
said.
That's even worse.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah.
I need more water, man.
But what's when I came to be out here, I prayed, and God said stick with you, no, and said do not leave aside. And I'm like, okay, God, knowing things, and no, it's like it's not been a perfect red slide through, and it's not been. No, it's been up and down and all over. But no, it's what some of those things is. Even when it sucks, I'm going to stay with you.
Yeah, at
No.
the funeral, it's
And-
Leah's friend.
That's it.
That's right. Leah lost one of her good friends.
Aw.
Yeah. It's another thing. Leah. It's like she doesn't notice. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't have a looker backer either. Leah's different. Leah Leah, I've never seen any of my kids be so affected by anything that we will not even notice, but she'll pick up on things that we just don't see, feel, spiritual or otherwise. And she'll pick up on them and be miserable.
The thing is, who's there to guide her in that?
We've tried, but how do you, like, she is so different, we don't know.
No.
It just throw shit against the wall, see what sticks, man. It sucks.
Because I've thought about that. You look at the spiritual gifts. Some are directly applied to certain people. Some are universal across the
Leah
board.
is very, very, like
But we've ruined that. Like,
we don't look for them anymore.
no. Well, not only that. Like, were you taught that growing up?
No, but that doesn't really. I mean,
It doesn't change it, but it makes it to where you were not prepared to deal with it.
Right, but that's not really a way out either.
It's not. But it's why we're screwed up the way we are. It's not that it's an
True.
excuse, because
Right.
ignorance of the law is not exemption of the law.
Yeah, this is
So-
one of those.
Exactly. And I've thought about it. Like, I don't necessarily see any of them yet in my kids, but I figure, the day they come, how am I going to deal with that?
Oh shit, Leah.
It's one thing to deal with what we know. Go back to what we talked about, homosexuality, go to any type of sexuality, all these things that are going on in the world. They're worldly, they can be dealt with in worldly ways. But what happens when one of your kids picks up on something you don't? How do you fix something you don't see?
Damn it, man. I don't know.
We're not equipped. And
I don't think so much fixing it, is it?
It's not. But how do you
it's-
guide that?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you fix it?
How do you even look into it?
Because if your daughter picks up on that, like, let's say it's discernment, and
think
she
it is.
feels something, like, say, an evil presence or something, and she wakes up with a fear, or she sees something that scares her, and you're sitting there like, what's wrong with you? How would you pick that up when they can't explain to you? I don't know.
Bro, I just remembered. This is a few days. Marcy will remember this. She won't even type it in there. Leah came to our bed at midnight. I think it's a few days ago, maybe last week. Scared. She hasn't done that in years.
But of what?
I don't know. I remember waking up. I never wake up when someone comes in our door. And that time I woke up when Leah walked in there. And this it's just to say of how dull I've been. That I didn't pick up on it. I thought it was odd that she walked in there. Because she hasn't done it in a lot of years. And I think she was scared. Like, where she might remember if she's listening. It was a few days ago, and I don't know. I think she was fearful or something. Like, it wasn't because she's old enough. She's 9. She can go to the bath. Like, it must have been something big. And I said, I even woke up and I didn't pick up on it. That's how dull I've been, and I'm tired of it. We're going to make some changes.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, she said she couldn't sleep and that she was scared. Marcy, if you're listening, was this around the time that kid died? I don't know. I'm just putting things together. Maybe there's something there.
It's possible because, I mean, like, would I go as far? I don't believe in mediums. I don't think that when the spirit leaves the body that you're going to see the spirit. But if there's something else, a presence of it, how?
I don't know.
Because like that, then we go to the afterlife, heaven and hell. You know, that's a whole
Because your spirit
nother
doesn't
topic.
die, but it doesn't go to heaven either.
No, it doesn't. But Abraham's bosom, if you're going to that, is still not here. I don't think that spirits sit here and roam around.
Well, if the evil spirits can,
Everything
who's to say that the
seen
good can?
But the thing
comes
is,
from
a
that
person is
which
not the same type of
unseen.
spirit as an angel or a demon. We're not the same thing.
Right, but if they can roam around the earth,
But
was about a week ago.
The angels and the demons.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but they have a different job. Their job is to roam around the earth.
Point there.
Whether
I
you're
don't
there
know.
for the good or
I'm
the
just-
bad, like I don't see that. But I
Or-
get
but-
what
but
you're
it
saying.
Could,
if
it
it's
could
the
even
same
be
time.
evil. It could
Yeah.
be the same evil.
Well, the
some
thing is,
evil attack.
what I was gonna say is let's say that Leah had a like a soul tie to this person, like somebody who was close to. If something there severed that tie, I could see like some type of fear coming off of that. What would you do if you had a tie to a person and all of a sudden it was gone?
But see, it didn't affect. Like, I didn't see. She wasn't. I mean,
Marcy said it was a week ago.
Oh, okay, so it's before.
did she notice that something was going to happen?
Maybe.
Because I know Marcy has had that. Marcy's had it several times where she had a dream or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then within a few days somebody would die, and it's happened too many times to be a coincidence. And Leah's of like Leah's Marcy's daughter, and Natasha in a lot of ways a lot more like me than any other ones, and I think Leah is in a lot of ways also more. 'Cause the thing is, me and Marcy are also so different. Marcy will read, she will study the Bible and enjoy doing it. I can't. To me, it's about the experience of
Yeah.
living.
I can't even take notes, and Lisa will sit there and journal.
Right, and to say that one way is right and the other is not is missing the whole point. But that's what I'm saying. Like Leah is more like Marcy than Tasha is more like me, and because Marcy's had those dreams when somebody, she even had one about Johnny when he was already, I think,
I remember that.
just before he died. Or
And the thing is, that was one that we kind of used as a reference point.
and maybe that's what happened with Leah that night.
Maybe.
That there was a presence there, Holy Spirit presence, something.
Maybe not even necessarily a spirit presence. Maybe she just
So
picked
here's
on
the
something.
thing.
Could be.
I had a dream Friday to Saturday that we had 6 kids. We were in a stadium, and I could not find. Whoa.
That's boom too fast.
Yeah. And I could not find the 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And that night, the accident happened, and the kids died.
There you go.
If y'all can please explain.
That I don't remember what we were talking
So
about.
he
at
was
that point. Which now we've already gone way off topic, but
yeah.
So
But this is kind of where we were at.
it is
3
It's
years
going
ago.
back to where
We were
started.
looking for answers for this stuff. We've quit.
Is she talking about the one that's going on right now? Those 2 kids?
Yes.
I'm guessing
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's asking you shall asking you shall, what does he say? Asking you shall find,
Seeking you shall find.
seeking you shall find,
Asking you shall receive.
asking you shall receive. So we're asking. This is us asking.
This is us asking. This is us asking. Help us find it.
Very publicly, by the way.
Yeah, we're not going to be quiet about it.
I like this. I like ever since last week. So many things in me have changed. I decided I was going to roll up my sleeves and just work like I used to. But I don't think it's so much that. Like I decided I'm just going to work my ass off to try to make some money because it's just not been coming in. But I think what shifted wasn't even so much that. It's just a work maybe more for myself spiritually. I think I am actually looking forward to putting those 2 Bibles back in my backpack. Because the paper used to be nicer than this.
I agree. I like having this. It's handy.
It's
but
very
it's
handy
not the
because
same.
there's you can search things here that you can't in the paper one.
Yeah.
But reading it is not the same.
It's not. I don't think it was meant to be on that.
No. Wasn't even meant to be in a book. It was meant to be read as a scroll. So soon we'll see. What's that in your backpack?
I bet
Don't worry about it as a scroll.
I can already see the wheels turning in Simon's head. What's a scroll? You know what a scroll is? Okay, good. Never mind. I take that back.
That was a very, very soft nod. Are you sure? I'm just kidding. Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay.
He hadn't said nothing the whole time, so this was at least we got him to.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
were you in your thought? You seem to be gone.
Huh?
You got something important or unimportant? Anything you want to share?
No, I was just like saying, like I came here to let like last week I had a really rough week too. I was really studying the Bible, and I just thought, you know what, I didn't want to come here. Aaron was kind of pushing me again, so I decided to come, and I didn't really want to speak. I just wanted to listen to see what's on the table, and I'm like, that hit hard. That hit hard.
It was a rough week. It was a really rough week.
So I've got a friend, and it's a family friend, and she specializes in dream interpretation. And I would love to get together and talk about that because I know a bit about that. So, and I think it would be good.
Talk to Marcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's interested more. Hammer down, man. I'm excited where this is gonna lead. Like next week,
Next week's Bible study again. So
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. For those that are listening, every other week's Bible study. We should probably start announcing that on the
I think
Facebook
so.
page and
Yeah. So we won't be back next week. We will be back the next week.
the week after next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every other week we're gonna have this podcast.
Which I think maybe some of this is stemming off of that. Kind of bring it in some of the guys that used to show up that don't show up now.
Mhm.
It's made a difference. Even though that very first one, man, that wasn't a Bible study.
No, it was a movie.
It was venting. Is what it was.
It was so good though.
It was because it brought out like the guys that we used to have around that everybody just sat there, shot the bull for a little while, and it kind of just opened up things that we hadn't done in a while with
Well,
people we hadn't in a while.
And even that, and I was a little bit surprised. She's listening. This is a compliment to my wife. Marcia's usually a little more by the book than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I came home and she said, "I was a Bible study." She said it wasn't one. So we just talked about movies and everything else. She said, "Isn't that part of life? Like,
Well,
why couldn't you call that a Bible
we
study?"
had really good. Remember, we drank.
It
Topo
hit
Chicos
me.
And,
She like I did not expect that.
you
coming-
remember that?
What did we drink?
We had Topo Chicos and talked about movies.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we? we got some more Topo Chicos for the next one.
That was
But
good.
it was, and what Marcy said when I got home, I said, she said, "It was a Bible study." Well, I said, "It wasn't a Bible study. It was a talk about movies night."
It really was. It was. I think it was exactly that. It was venting. It
But
was literally just.
it was.
Everybody was there for whatever you wanted to say. We talked
And
about.
we straight up enjoyed it.
Yep.
And all the misery we've been through, we straight up enjoyed it. And what I liked is like that Marcy cut me off. She said, "Look, isn't that part of life?"
Yeah.
Like
That's good.
I think so often, I know for myself, I have compartmentalized Christ outside of the movies or work, for that matter. That's where I really liked Heaven in Business. When I come back from there, they get me on fire. How you can have heaven in your business. It is the same thing. What affects you in your daily life or what affects you in your personal life will spill over. It can't not,
Yeah.
because they're the same thing.
Yep.
They're both heaven.
But I remember before I lost a lot of this. You found Jesus even in the things you weren't looking.
Right.
Like something
On a daily basis.
Let's look for example of something demonic. What's considered demonic movie wise? Harry Potter, right?
Is it?
Yeah, like I've heard this from
Yeah.
people. I've never seen
heard
it.
it too.
I remember reading
Why?
the books
Oh yeah,
because the way
Magic.
it's talked about. Well, the thing is
Well,
magic.
and the
Like,
yeah.
But the thing is, you could say magic. You could very easily translate to supernatural.
well, it could, but just an example. And this is something that was brought up to my attention, not really me, but I used to see these things and now I don't, and I want to find this again. One of the ones where's the one where he fights Voldemort or whatever?
That's one of the last ones.
Okay, so he had to die and be brought back to life
5 or 6. Yeah.
in
one of
order
those.
to kill Voldemort. It's basically like whether they
It's a
put it that
reference
way
to
or not,
Christ.
it's a subliminal message into the reference of Jesus Christ dying in order to kill or to kill death or to
to defeat sin.
there.
To defeat evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Voldemort is Satan. Harry
See, that-
Potter was Jesus.
is-
Not intentionally, but it was
Isn't
there.
the lady that wrote it her own version of playing what the guy did with the witch, the ward, and the wardrobe?
Oh, Chronicles of Narnia.
Chronicles of
I don't
Narnia.
know. Maybe it is, but I was
It
always
sounds
told
similar.
it was very
Oh,
demonic. But
Aslan is
is
supposed to be Christ.
yeah. So
Right.
there's all these
Well,
references
he's a
like
lion,
that.
so, yeah.
But that one we know.
Right.
But some of these you don't see that, and then to look into those things like it was a song when we picked John the Revelator. Remember, I don't know if you remember me telling you, listen to the song "Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner. There's a lot more biblical truth in that song than I ever would have thought, and I never thought about it back then. But it clicked in my head.
So here's another, you really can't say like Disney is. I think they're higher ups. They got some whack ideas,
A little bit,
A little bit.
maybe just a little bit.
but Pixar is part of Disney,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there has been some good. Like even that movie that it really. I have a friend used to live in Alaska. I think now he lives in Las Vegas. He's kind of a Facebook friend, I guess. I admire how he's changed his life.
Okay.
He's Asian, and he doesn't really comment on movies. And he said they had watched it. It's a kids movie. That kids movie about the panda.
the new one.
Yeah, Red Panda. or
Red
something.
Panda.
Okay.
You know what that's about?
No, I hadn't seen it.
About
I've heard a bunch of negativity on
Me
it.
too.
It's,
Like
it's
that's
a
all
very
I've
good
heard.
movie. It's if you look past the bullshit, it's kind of where women get their period. Things change, but it's a good.
That's what this is about.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
But it does it from Asian culture reference, and he was saying like he is from I don't know what part of Asia.
Turning Red.
Turning Red, that's the one. But he said that the movie does a really good job of representing Asian culture in the first place. But not just that, like that is made by an evil corporation, and every way you look at it. But there's Christian people in there. How else does this come out of there? Sing. You ever watch Sing?
Yeah, I like it.
Damn it, that's some good. There was one song where that lion comes out. I sit there, bawled my eyes out.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Where he's
And
not supposed to
Sing
come
2,
out, and
not
he does.
Sing, not
That's
the
Sing
first
2,
one,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sat and cried, and my kids there were like,
What's wrong with you?
nothing.
Shut
Leave
up.
me alone.
Okay, shut up. I'm watching the movie.
But like there's no denying that that some of these guys that run it, they're bad people. But if you look at the movies that come out of there, there's good messages.
Well, the thing is, it goes to a biblical reference. What the devil intended for evil, God will use for good. There's good people still left out there, and I think we've lost
because
that.
in that Turning Red, in a lot of ways you could say like she turns into a panda, but you could also let's say it's more attitude or you know the hormones, whatever.
I get what you're saying.
Turn into a really shitty. You have some really shitty days.
Okay.
We know that it's a cliche.
What are you talking about? We're not.
But if you don't deal with it, the panda will come out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You piss him off enough, he'll come out.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I thought it had a good message in it.
I haven't seen it, so
And I just like it really shows the more you try to deny it and shove it down, the more you can't. It's reality. It's straight up.
I
truth.
think it goes both ways. I think there's times where we've thought something was innocent and it turned out to be something really evil, and I think it's vice versa. We've taken a lot of things that we're like, no, we shouldn't even talk about that, and there's a lot of good in there that we've kind of just pushed out of the way.
Right, because what's kind of the second in command for Bethel? Used to be mechanic.
Oh, Valaton.
Chris Valaton.
Yeah, I used to think his name was Valot, and I couldn't say that.
that. Yeah.
I didn't know how to say that.
He had with a few others some kind of presentation at Google.
Okay.
The corporation. There's Christians working on the AI that screwed a lot of our politics.
Well,
But
Perry
there's
Stone-
Christians working because the thing is, this goes back to you can sit there demonize it, or you can get in there and do something about it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know Perry Stone. Like I know you're not the biggest fan of him, but
The same thing. I have a lot of respect for
yeah,
the guy.
me too. But
It just
he's
doesn't
got
fit me.
he's got some stuff that he talks about in one interview with I don't know if a pastor or missionaries. Anyway, somebody that was going through college at the time that had gotten some kind of interview with a huge tech company. And this was one of those mining companies, like one of those that goes in info mining or whatever, and huge warehouses of servers just basically seeing what you're looking at. They basically know you. They know everything you did. And they gave him an example. They're like, well, we know you like to drink coffee at this place. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, every day you're here. You spend so much money.
And the AI will get a pattern
Yeah,
for you.
and it does. Like
It's not hard.
and they even said it goes as far as, you know, that Cadillac you drive? You know that a year ago you didn't even like Cadillac? You know, things like that. Like that's what they tell him. And he's just like, what are you talking about?
And you think he thinks back and it's true.
Well, look, he's not as free-minded as we are, because who drives a Cadillac? But no,
It's a shav.
it is a chav. That's some chav wanting on their badge. You can polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Anyway,
Yeah, Chevy's Chevy. But no, like it's the point of it. The owner of that company that let him come in and see that he got to interview was a Christian. There's Christians,
and
in
he's
all
thinking,
walks
how
of
can you do
life.
this?
Yeah, and there's Christians in all walks of life.
Yes, there is.
And the thing is business.
Yes.
And the things you know, as a Christian, like let's look at like what we do, Christian businessmen, for what we do for a living. What's the difference between us and somebody who's not a Christian, doing the same thing we do?
I think that depends.
Okay.
I think there's, then again, I think Todd is also a Christian. How can you say Todd is not? Because Todd is just
I wouldn't
That's-
even use somebody like Todd to run against. I've got so much respect for the guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
That's what I'm
like,
saying. Like Todd, we wouldn't. Todd. You
I
couldn't run
yeah.
against Todd as far as.
No.
But
Well,
I'm
the
just
Krabby
saying-
thing is one of the reasons I wouldn't do it.
So-
I'd be scared too because he'd probably run us out of business.
yeah, he would. I think he would.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know this. I think that somebody that is not rooted in Christ, I think would have a harder time not taking shortcuts when they're very easy to do.
I agree. So one of the things right there is the main difference is principles.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not going to say any names, but I mean I could go to some like names of mechanics in the same area that are more successful than we are.
Yes.
And I can go to their customers, and there's a lot of customers that like them, and there's some that have preference of them over us,
Mhm.
and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And then I could throw out a handful of names that
The thing
will
is, the man that
drag
you're talking
them.
about,
No,
I
I'm not
know-
talking about just him. I'm talking about a couple more.
Right, but the
He is
main one, he started so well.
I know he
He's
did.
one of the smartest people I know.
I know, but he's just one example.
Right.
But I could name off the top of my head. I could feel it both hands. I could
But
give
that-
you 10 names that would drag him
I
through
don't.
the dirt.
There's one that really just
I know. Me and you both know which one this
it
is.
sucks.
It does, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to reference is, even though sometimes we know that the decision we're going to make is going to cost us, what defines us is we might lose money on it.
But we go home with a free conscience.
That's right, because we made it right, no matter how much it sucked for us.
I like that. Even if the customer doesn't know, I like that.
Yeah. They don't need to.
I like to go home that
we
way.
we don't need to. We don't need to flaunt that,
Right.
Because we have nothing to prove to anyone but
Right.
ourselves.
But you go home comfortable and you feel better
Yeah,
about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go home knowing you did your best, even if it didn't work out.
But
But you did not screw somebody.
isn't a lot of that also? There's nobody, not you, not me. Nobody in the shop is really chasing after money. It's the money's never been
Nah, if
why
that
we
was
do
the
it.
case, they're in the wrong place because they ain't getting much.
Especially now.
That's supposed to
Especially,
change.
well,
Mhm.
that depend, now it depends on you. Up till now, it
I
depends on us.
really hope there'll be a day where everybody gets a good payday.
Well, things
including me.
We don't. It's not that we don't. It's,
Well, you put some work in today, so
yeah.
there's a start.
Yeah, there's a good start, isn't there?
he might have earned a check this week.
Yeah, at least one day once the job's finished.
Well,
Are
the
you
thing is-
saying that
hey,
Diesel Solutions is going to pay me this week?
Hey, crappy thing is, he's working on your job. So, are you giving him some of your hours, or how is this working?
We might want to shut this conversation down.
Oh, man. I've
No,
gotta
I
justify
really
it.
enjoyed myself today. I
I'm
went home and
glad.
I felt accomplished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's good. Like that.
It is.
That's at the end of the day. What more do you really want? A sense of accomplishment is literally like one of the highest awards you can get. Your paycheck, literally, like I live this. I want to be able to provide a roof, a home for my family, and food. The rest of it is all. What would you say?
It's bonus.
Yeah.
Play money.
Yeah,
I
and-
think.
and like what feels better than when you like
Yikes.
yeah, shit happens. But what feels better than like some of these trucks that we've pushed out when an engine that didn't run, somebody drags a truck on a wrecker, and you rebuild it, that first fire up. There's nothing more exciting than that. Not in the shop. Exactly. Like I still have the video somewhere. Art, that 12.7 out of Andrews. Art, that yellow Freightliner Classic with the 12.7 that you didn't like the color. It was Detroit green, not Detroit blue. You don't remember? It ended up more of a turquoise.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah,
remember.
okay. So when that truck fired up, like Zach had never rebuilt a Detroit. And I had kind of pushed it on him because I was busy and he had the time to do it. When we got through it, like he questioned the timing. I bet he timed that engine like 5 times. Ran the overhead 2 or 3 times because there were some parts in that were not right. That's part of the problem to begin with. We ended up having to modify a couple of rockers and some weird stuff in there.
I wish
But-
I had his patience, and I wish he had a little more of mine, less patience.
That's what I'm saying. I wish he had a little less patience. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, it is.
So I still have that video somewhere. When we got in there that evening, I mean, I remember the doors are open. It's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It's dark.
Can't wait to start.
Nope. And it's like we could go home. Screw it. Fire it up.
Have to.
Yeah, we can't go home till it's running.
Won't sleep anyway.
That's right. We're gonna sit there and wonder all night, is it gonna run? and that's what we did. We sat there, and I think that original video is like probably 5-6 minutes long. Because getting the fuel up to it and priming everything, and I had forgotten that we had to prime it, and I'd put my phone down, and by the time it finally like we're getting ready to run it, like we're long into this video.
Oh, is it gonna?
Yeah, and then
gonna run
finally
away?
it's like clear. It's in the video. It's clear, clear. And then you're sitting there like, shit, it's starting awfully long. Crap. I think we might have screwed something up. Wham! You know?
Oh, we didn't.
It's like, whoa!
This really is a back to basics episode, but I liked it. I think part of my deal has also been chasing things that I've seen other people make good money on, and I was hoping that was me, and I guess it's just not. That's something I've seen today, because one of the things was I have one dealer in Odessa, and I help him out, and that's probably plenty because I am too hands-on to have a bunch of dealers. I think
we're not really. That's not really our forte.
it's really not, and that's what my real like. That's really what I've been pushing, having everybody else do the job. I sit at home and do the work on the computer. That's what I was pushing for today when I did that counter bore. You have no idea how much I second guess myself, and I just pushed it.
Oh, I do.
Pushed straight through.
I know exactly.
He heard it from the other side of the shop.
Well, the thing is, I know. Well, that's why I had to come correct you. There's a lot of things I could not correct you in, so if I get the opportunity,
I'm glad you did, because I was making bumps in that thing.
well, that's what I figured. Like
wasn't
I
sure
know
if I
what
was
that
gonna
does.
cut
It makes ridges and it waves it.
yeah, it did, and it was bad, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get him out, but I did.
Yeah. Well, what you do in that situation is you hover it, like you take 1,000th off, and you push down and spin, and you take the ridges off. I've done this. I know. I learned from one of the best.
Like going home and probably the best.
In our area, at least, he is the best.
I don't know if there's anywhere like. I would be willing to bet that you could put Todd Regan against anybody on the internet, and he would. I don't know about top him, but he would match anybody.
I believe that. 100%.
Maybe not in electronics,
No.
but overall mechanic. That's what I told Ty earlier too. I said people don't realize that they're talking to a legend.
Yeah.
When I talk to them.
Yeah. Well, you don't see it because he doesn't act like it.
Not just that, he's just such a good guy.
No.
He's so simple.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
No beating around the bush. Get it done.
And always happy.
Yeah. Always. Even sometimes, like I've screwed up some jobs, like they've taken longer than they should, and stuff where we ran into incidents where we ended up waiting on parts and trying to diagnose it, something that was supposed to be a 1-2 day deal ends up taking a week, and it's always one of those things like you feel bad about it, but what do? And he's never ever the kind of guy like, well, you done screwed up.
Yeah. No. Still happy.
Yeah.
That's Rudy too. I gotta give a shout out to Rudy. Like the other day,
I wish Rudy had been here.
yeah, I mean,
He would have been good on here today.
Yes, because it was back to basics.
Yeah.
Because Rudy, so his tractor went down. We had programmed that his tractor went down, went into D-rate, and my tool was out. Isaac had it, so I took Nolan's slave tool and I went out there and figured out, I'm going to try to do something.
I am the slave.
You are the slave. Okay.
That's an evil word. You can't use it around here. Anyway, so
Well, should we go into definition of slave,
Right.
biblical? It's
Master.
not what we call it, not what we were taught it was.
but I went over there, and because the computer wouldn't work and everything went sideways, I finally asked Rudy. I said, "When do you need this?" Well, and this was Saturday morning. He said, "Well, I kind of need." No, was it Saturday morning? I think.
That was Friday, I think.
Was it Friday?
Friday, I think, because
Okay.
Saturday we talked about it, and you're like, Rudy's got a plan because he got to be done by
That's
Sunday
right.
night.
So it was Friday morning, or mid before noon, mid-noon, and everything went to shit in the handbasket. And I was running out of handbaskets, and I called Rudy and said, "How soon do you need it?" Well, my planting deadline's Sunday, but he was so calm.
I don't think he has an anxious bone in the body.
Oh, he talked about it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't even ask about it, and he said, "Yeah, I figure it wasn't a whole lot of good reason to get mad about it. Probably not going to get done anyway. Not going to make a difference." So something like something smart like that.
Yeah.
Something that's just straight up Rudy.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Well, gentlemen, I think 2 hours or just short of 2 hours should be enough. What do you think?
You want to try to stretch it out to an even two?
Let's do it.
I was going to say, I'm actually good with that. I just wanted to see what your
At
response
least
would
an
be.
even two.
An even two. That's only
Simon,
Do you want to end it tonight? You got a minute of something to say yet to end this?
David's chomping at the bit to say something.
No.
Yeah.
He just lost his voice box.
Yeah.
He turned into what's that?
He turned almost as red as Zach does.
I know one thing. I gotta go to the bathroom.
When-
Really?
Oh,
Doors
man.
right
Now?
there.
Yeah.
I can go between the
No.
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 We don't want to hear all that.
So, I think David just turned into what's that Autobot that can't speak?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
Yeah.
He lost his voice box.
Should we pull
That
out
was funny, David.
Should we pull
A
out
good loud
radio
laugh
for
would
him?
would do you good. What?
I'm not really sure what that was.
Wasn't me. Don't look at me.
That was me.
Our
No.
voice. What would you say? Our resident beatbox is not here.
Who's
Yeah.
the beatbox?
Nick.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's the master of sound effects. But there you go, Herman. 5 seconds. We're done.
Yeah.
And even 2 hours.
3, 2, 1, done.
Done. Yeah. Good night.